Hi, Mark. How are you?
Yeah, hey Nancy. Yeah, doing good. Doing good. Looking forward to the weekend. How are
Yeah,
you doing?
I'm doing good too. Thanks for asking. Okay. So, thanks for being at Enqurious TV. We really appreciate you being here. All right. So, hello everyone, and welcome to Enqurious TV, your front row seat to the stories behind the smartest minds in data, AI, and technology. I'm your host Mansi Mutreja, and here we dive deep into real-world problem, breakthrough solutions, and the human side of innovation. At Incurious, we help companies build high performing data teams by upskilling professionals with hands on role based learning, turning curiosity into career growth and business impact. So, whether you're a data engineer, scientist, or just love tech stories, get ready for inspiring conversations, candid challenges, and the magic behind the code. So, let's get started. So today we have Mark with us. He has 13 years of experience in the domain of data science and he has worked with some reputed organizations like TikTok and he's currently working as a staff data scientist at Meta. So I just want to let's hear it from Mark that about his experience and let us give him a chance to introduce. So Mark, can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone who's watching or listening to this. Yeah, I'm Mark. I've been into this for quite a while. Yeah, for like 12 or 13 years old, and it's been evolving like crazy. When I just found my first job, it was mostly about like just Excel, just doing some simple financial analysis, marketing analysis, just understanding like what users are doing at all. And now it's evolved into like LLM, into like agents, into like really great experimentation approaches, and yes, there's so much we can do. And yeah, you're right. I've worked at, I would say, 6, 7 companies in different domains, from insurance to social apps, and enjoyed it, I would say, everywhere. And yeah, currently I'm working at Meta in marketing, so that's also new for me. Never worked at marketing before, so I mean, that's also why I'm encouraging everyone to try as many domains, industries, different, size types of the companies as possible, just to find your sweet spot.
Ah, great. So I just went through your profile, LinkedIn profile as well, and that's crazy how you're inspiring everybody. And since you've gained a lot of knowledge over these past years of experience you've had, and you're sharing that knowledge, and as we all know, knowledge is power, so you're doing a great job.
Yeah, thank you, and please, yeah, join my LinkedIn, subscribe to my newsletter. So yeah, you're gonna be welcome there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So thanks for introducing yourself. So here the flow we are going to keep is I'll be asking you a few questions. I've explored your LinkedIn profile based on that, just so that the young professionals or the young data scientists who are just entering into this career and they want to gain some insights or even experienced professionals, because what you know, definitely somebody else doesn't know. So we can just exchange the ideas. And then we are going to
Yeah.
have a very small round of rapid fire where we'll just I'll ask you some questions and you have to answer instantly. So are you ready?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay. So first is you've emphasized the business first, data second, model third. So can you just walk us through how that principle plays out in a real meta project?
Yeah. I mean, I can just um, share my thoughts on it. The problem, with the current data science overall is like people over focus on the models,
Hmm.
like how to, I mean, create something completely new, how to use LLMs everywhere, etc.
Right.
But overlook the business sense of it. Because why are we doing data science at all? To solve business challenges, to solve business problems. So that's why it should be at the top.
Yeah.
And so it can be like if business problem is pretty simple, so we can use simple approach it. If it's really difficult, we can experiment, test ideas, hypotheses, and find the right one. But it's all coming not from the model, but from the business.
Right.
Then it comes to data, because without data, without correct data, without large enough data, even with ideal model, you won't be able to solve the business problem. And there are a lot of challenges you have to solve from data perspective. So you have to build some pipelines. You have to understand how you're going to collect this data. You need to understand how you're going to apply your model to online data set and all of it. So I would say right, big enough data is like 30% of the whole challenges. And I would say it's like the last staple here, the last pillar.
Yeah.
It also, many things are dependent on it, like is it scalable? What's the performance metrics? How we're applying it, etc., etc.
Right.
But if you solving the wrong business problem, if you don't have enough data and the data is messy,
Mm.
it doesn't matter what model you will choose. You won't be successful. So that's like um, you know why this kind of philosophy,
Mm.
where this philosophy come from. So in terms of like different meta projects, I wouldn't like dive into like exact
Yeah.
project, but how it works in general. So just discussing with your cross-functional people, with your leadership, what business problem you're solving, what business metrics you're trying to shift to move to increase or decrease, whatever it can be. Then you're thinking about solution. You're thinking about what data you can get, how you apply it, and then eventually you're working on the model itself. So you're thinking about like should it be an random forest, some NLP approaches. Should it be just linear regression? Most people overlook linear regression, but it's still very useful even in 2025 and all of it. So you can solve it later. But first, business, data, and model.
Yeah. So, like, we start good, we end good. So, if we understand the business problem well, we choose, we
Yeah,
get our output well, right? So,
yeah,
just
that's right.
a tip here. Like, suppose you've understood the problem statement well, you have understood, analyzed the business objectives. So, then where do you refer to get the best model? For example, do you refer to the leaderboard on Hugging Face to get the best model for that particular business problem?
I would say the first baseline approach
Okay.
uh, that you should use, it's either something that you used before,
Huh?
like because like everywhere it can be something internal, it can be Hugging Face, it can be whatever,
Yeah.
or it can be some heuristics. Yeah, so heuristics are pretty good because they are very explainable. So if X over Y, then let's do this or something like that. And based on this heuristic, it's easy to implement, easy to explain, and it's easy to to measure your benchmark. And then after this, yeah, I mean, it depends on your company, on the culture of your company. It's like some cloud versions that you can use like Aggregate, or you're building something internally or whatever. So then you can play around with it. But benchmark and baseline could be really simple.
Yeah. Okay. So we should start with baselines. Thanks for the.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. As a causality advocate, how do you balance causal inference with correlation-based models in your work?
Yeah, that's a great question. Like most of us know that like correlation doesn't cause causation
Uh,
pretty often.
right.
Uh, and there are some approaches how to find causation. Like the most powerful is like experimentation, A/B testing, right? There can be like less powerful, different causal inference approaches, can be many things. But the idea here is like, I would say you should always be cautious about correlation, even though like one feature correlated with another. So you should think about from business perspective. This makes sense. Does it make sense? I mean, for example, you are predicting the price for a car, right?
Right.
And you see that color correlated with age, for example, of vehicle. Does it make sense? And why it can like happen in real world? And the second thing, you always, because you have like historical data, you can like simulate different options, things. So I really love to simulate data and
Okay.
to check, what's happening if uh, I don't know, use this one or I replace this with this. The historical data is really useful, and many people just forget about it.
Mhm.
So don't overlook it and use it in your advantage.
Yeah. So, like, data is the backbone. If you understand the data well, half of the problem is already solved, right? So, it's
Yeah,
important to find the correct relation between different features. Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So next, I would like to ask you is so as I saw, you've redefined experimentation as being about actionable insights and not just p-values. So could you just
Yeah,
share a case when this mindset shifted your approach, like when you were experimenting and suddenly you got this thought that okay, we should not just experiment, but not just with p-values, but actionable insights as well.
yeah. I mean, I don't remember exactly the date and the project where it's been,
Yeah.
but it was something like I just joined the company 6, 7 years ago. There were different experiments, and what like our data team was doing at this moment. It's like, yeah, we have experiments. So this matrix, we got like this p-values. It's like non-significant. Yeah, let's go to another one.
Okay.
So that's like the paradigm about just using p-values, and that's it. No beyond. And if you dive a little bit deeper, if you dive into like confidence interval, if you dive into like different subsegments, if you just try to understand, even if it's neutral, why it's neutral, like maybe for some segments of the users, it's really useful, and for new users, it's not because of X, Y, and Z. So
Right.
you should really, s- try to solve this riddle instead of just, reporting key value and, you know, Boolean result like it's static or not. So just dive a little bit deeper because like even if it's statistically significant, so our experiment showed it, right? What we should do with it? Yeah, so we can like launch it for the whole set of users, but it's not enough insights that we can use later in our like future planning, in our future product, in our future changes, and we need to understand why why it worked out, for whom, how, etc., etc. And that's gonna be so super powerful if you do it instead of just reporting p-values and like just flag static or not.
Yeah. So if you just answer a few questions like what, when, for whom, and how, it's going to be much more important.
Yeah, I would say the most important question in the whole, I'd say, data science is why. So when you get some results, why you get this result?
Right.
If this model doesn't, why it doesn't?
Mm.
And if you like ask yourself this why pretty often, you will grow immensely.
Yeah. So as more curiosity we have, the learning also comes along with that. Correct. Okay. So next I would like to ask you is what was a major aha or breakthrough moment early in your career, maybe at TikTok, that shaped your data science approach? Any moment
Mm,
you remember of?
that shaped my data science approach?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. I would say it was a moment like I guess 8 years ago.
Okay.
So at this moment, I worked at one of the banks, and yeah, my main, I would say, domain was a scoring system and the fraud detection. And so during some implementation of the new features, I
Okay.
made a mistake, and it ended up with losing quite a lot of money for a bank in general. And I realized that one of the most important aspects that I should apply in my work is writing down mostly everything. What I mean, so you will forget what you've done, what you did yesterday. What
Mhm.
you've done like last week, you definitely forget. What achievements you've had like last year. Nobody knows, even you. So like why you made this decision in some, you know, data science project. So you will forget like in a year or even like in a month. I will, so I guarantee this.
Mhm.
And if you just, create your own way of structuring, this memories. So just what were your achievements like last month? Why you made this decision into this project like 3 months ago, etc., etc. So you will become like unstoppable. And since that period, I'm trying to obviously like I'm not ideal. I'm trying to jot down, mostly I would say most major things I've done and I'm doing so far, and it really helps me the career.
That is one really good learning, and even I will implement it because that one thing which teaches you, and obviously because we forget, and in the era of this AI and everything, we think our ChatGPT will store better history than our brains. So it's important
That's
to note it down and we write it down to look back at it. Thank you so much for this advice, Mark. Okay. So one more question related to advice only. So
Mhm.
you advise your junior data scientists to focus less on DSA part and more on impact. So how did you personally evolve from junior to senior data mindset? Because usually whenever we are going and appearing for some kind of interviews, you must have seen that everybody asks us or suggests us that we should focus more on DSA part. So
Yeah.
how did
Uh,
you evolve from that mindset, from juniors to seniors?
yeah. So this shift, yeah, should be like in your mind, in your like brain doing instead of focusing on, like technical things. So like for example, you join the company and as a junior, and you're looking, just for some projects where you can apply some technical aspect of it, and you don't care about, impact that it can be of. So just, I would say, even force yourself to understand for every project what the impact can be of it. So it doesn't mean it should be like X million, right? It can be hours of savings.
Right.
Um, it can be some I don't know, sentiment metrics. It can be something about brand. It can be in terms of like some proxy metrics. So it can be a lot of things. So instead of focusing the most interesting project from technical perspective, where you can apply like all the algorithms in the world, just focus on the projects, even if they're a bit simpler. And most of the time, I think they're simpler. Um, that can deliver some, and you should understand what impact. So you shouldn't pinpoint it, right? Because you don't know,
Right.
but at least some range of it, and what metrics it. Yeah. So for example, there is like one project where you can, just code, I don't know, in 2 months in a row. for 2 months in a row, and just really sharp your technical skills. But it's just about, I don't know, optimization of some small algorithm that doesn't affect anything overall. Think about the project that you can pick on or you can help with that can really get some get some benefits to the users, to your
Mm.
stakeholders, even to your team or to you. So if this can save like dozens of hours per month for your team, definitely do it. Even if it's like just optimizing or automating some pipelines, yeah, do it and write down, I've done this and it's gonna save us X hours per month, and it would help you.
Right. So the end users should be some customers or some stakeholders. So basically, it should benefit us in some way.
Oh, yes, and the stakeholders, it can be everyone. It can be you.
Sure.
So you can also play a role of stakeholders for yourself, your team, your manager, marketing, product, and users, whoever, like partners. I mean, it depends on the business, on the project, on many things.
Correct, correct. That's true. That's actually true. So if we develop this kind of thinking, we can actually evolve from the junior data mindset. But I think somewhere like somebody who's entering and initially they always focus on the technical skills. They just want a platform to implement whatever they've learned. So people usually start with that. But
Yeah,
to be a senior data scientist, I think what you have mentioned is really required.
yeah, and that's completely normal, and
Okay.
that's how things should go. Because like you're a junior, you just learned something, you just graduated, whatever.
Yeah.
That's also why during the interviews for junior, you are mostly only asked about some technical things and a bit of behavioral because you don't have vast experience, and so you can't be asked about how would you implement, I mean, this scalable machine learning system,
Right.
or tell me about some big project where you implement X, Y, and Z because you don't have this experience. So that's why on junior positions you're mostly asked about technical and about theory, then practice, and
Agreed.
that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. Okay. So next I would like to ask you is, so when you are evaluating impact, how do you define the metrics truly like drive impact versus vanity metrics?
When
Like,
I'm evaluating water,
you want me to repeat it?
yes, please.
Okay. So when you're evaluating the impact of something, like suppose you've trained a model or you've done some modeling and you're trying
Yeah.
to calculate the impact of it, you're evaluating it. So how do you define the metrics which truly drive the impact rather than just vanity metrics, like the ones which won't be useful? Or
Yeah,
basically like choosing
that's
the most important metric for a particular business use case. That's what.
yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. Because choosing the right metric is a key in many data science projects and just in many product changes.
Hmm.
And I would say in all of them. So the key here is to understand metrics hierarchy. So what metrics hierarchy is, it's just a tree of metrics
Yeah.
that's connected to each other and have different layers. So we always start with like our top North Star metric. In most cases, so it depends on like domain or and on the company. It can be revenue, right? Uh, then we split it out like uh, what revenue is built on. So it can be revenue from ads, it can be revenue from some subscriptions. Also, we have costs. So we have costs, customer support costs, or uh, something else like salaries. Then, okay, like ads revenue, for example. Uh, what are the components? So it can be CTR, like click-through rate, watch session duration time. It can be number of users, right? And so on, so on. So you're going like step by step, layer by layer, and you understand then what causes what to change and what affects what. And then when you are building some data science model or just solving some business challenge, you understand, you should at least understand from the beginning what metric are you focusing on at the end. So big, and why we're doing it, if we have just new revenue metric, we can use it everywhere. But the reason is because it's not very sensitive, and it's very hard to move a needle for like really North Star metrics, and that's why we choose some other metrics where we, I would say, are able to influence them directly, not like just revenue, because we I would say moving it directly on some costs, for example. If we automate some customer support agents, some customer support pipelines, so we are reducing costs. Yeah, I mean, later, maybe it will take some time, we're gonna increase our profit, but at this moment, we are reducing costs. So if you have this, hopefully not only in mind, but like on the paper, there's like better hierarchy. It's going to be easy for you to find this metrics that you want to change, and how you eventually would measure the quality of your model, EBITDA, something else. Yeah.
Mm,
That's roughly, I would say, how I would frame it, and how I would handle it.
that is one very good and key learning I think all the audience will take. Thank you for sharing this. Okay. So we are left with two more questions of this round, and then we'll move to the rapid fire one. So one
Okay.
is, so in high stakes environments like Meta, what processes ensure data and modeling always align with business objectives? And in addition to this question only, I would also like to ask you what is one of your most favorite problem statements you've worked on in your entire journey of being a data scientist?
So regarding the first one, yes, it's always connected to some metric. So if you can't quantify the result of your model, you shouldn't do it. And I kind of agree with that.
Okay.
I mean, there is also like different, not different, but like I would say in addition that not everything can be measured, and I agree with that. But what you can, you absolutely should measure and set as the correct metric to this. So yeah, most of the projects, not even like that, but um, at most companies like bank, I think, and other like are very well structured and well approached in terms of metrics. Uh, about the second one, yeah, I need to think about it. Uh, What's most like interesting? Hmm, what's the most interesting project I've had in data science? That's a good one.
Yeah.
Um, I would say this one of the most interesting was when I worked at a mobile gaming company.
Okay.
And I mean, why it's interesting, first of all, I mean, yeah, let's me dive into the problem statement. So we started to develop a lot of data science models like first prediction, purchase model, marketing attribution models, many things about marketing. And why it was really interesting for me because it was the first time I worked in a really small team. So we were like 20 people, and I and my team focused on the entire, I would say, pipeline of it. and we were able to see an impact like right off the bat, like after the experiment on it, and we launched it, and we've seen it like I would say in a day, and it's like you, I mean, you enjoying so great that you can see an impact right away. Because when you're working at some corporations, I mean, you can imagine it would take some time to set it up properly, to test it properly, and then to get aligned with everyone, etc., etc. And when you just work 15, 20 people, I mean, you just need like 20 minutes call, that's it, and you're free to go. I mean, I'm not sure if it's like the most interesting project in my career, but at least it's the first one that comes to my mind. You ask me about it.
Okay. So definitely that's important. That's special because you remember that.
Yeah,
That also made you feel happy. So yeah, great. And that's interesting actually. Okay. So one last question for this round we have is that what's the one bit of advice you wish you've gotten before becoming a staff data scientist at Meta? Like something which you wanted to learn before in your career.
mm, I would say two pieces of advice. It's the one that we already discussed, that business first and everything, rather than that second and third and other places, because it takes some time for you to understand this.
Yeah.
And the second one is just even sometimes force yourself to be curious. When you're curious, you try to broaden your horizons, you try to understand something beyond your scope, and it just, plays like a driving force. So being curious all the time, it's impossible, but sometimes you have to, force yourself to do this. So that's like a piece of advice that yeah, I wish I knew sooner.
A major difference between again ChatGPT and human. Humans should be curious and only then they can continue their learnings.
Yeah,
Key to learn more is being curious. Yeah. So thanks for this.
that's right.
Yeah. Okay. So now we'll move on to the rapid fire round where I'll be asking you some short questions and you have to answer it instantly.
I'll
So,
try my best. Yeah.
okay. So your favorite tool or library right now?
Yes. If I read the library,
No, no. If your favorite tool or library right now, which library or tool is your favorite one currently?
uh, scikit-learn,
Okay, fine. Correlation or causality, which wins on a tight deadline?
which, sorry,
Correlation or causality, which one wins on a tight deadline?
uh, causality. I would stick with that all the time.
All right. So data cleaning or model tuning, your least favorite.
Uh, Modeling.
I knew it coming. Next is one book, course, or resource every data pro should know. Anything, any YouTube
Uh,
or
yeah, Andrew NG Stanford lectures.
okay. Thanks. All right. So describe your work style in one emoji.
Uh, Finger up.
Great. Okay, Mark. So with this, we come to the end of the podcast and the both the rounds. And thanks a lot for being here. I'm really, really grateful that you spare out some time to join us and share your key insights. And I am very sure because I have learned a lot, and everybody who will be watching this will learn a lot from this. And there were some questions I really felt very good about the answers you gave. So thanks a lot for being there. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you, and to all listeners, yeah, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, share your questions, ask for anything, and I will try to help.
Yeah, sure. We can see you're already helping a lot to everybody. Yeah.
Thank you for inviting.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mark. Bye. Have a good day ahead.
Take care.